Hey, if you and your friends are running a dead pool, it may be time to place a bet on the personal computer. Investor Beat starts now. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Hill. Mixed day on Wall Street with retailers helping to lift the S&P and Dow to another day of record highs. On the flip side, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, and Intel all kept the Dow from moving even higher. Joining me in studio today, Bryan Hinman and Matt Argersinger. Research firm IDC has issued a report saying worldwide laptop and desktop shipments fell 14% in the first quarter. It's the sharpest decrease since IDC began tracking the data nearly 20 years ago. And Matt, I think we all knew PC sales were falling. I don't think anyone was really expecting a drop-off this dramatic.
This was a big drop-off, and we see what's happening to Microsoft, to Hewlett-Packard, to a lot of companies in that space. It's a little unfair, I think, what's happening to Microsoft. I mean, they're blaming kind of Windows 8 as being a disappointment, so people aren't rushing out and buying a new system so that they can use Windows 8. But to me, this is a bigger story about a shift that's going on. In the history, which maybe 2004, software used to lead the hardware, and now it's the opposite. I think we have hardware. People have these platforms, whether it's a laptop or an iPad or a tablet, and they're not necessarily going out and buying the new software or the new PC to get the new software. Software makers and apps are being made for these platforms. It's really a different market.
You got Microsoft falling. You got Hewlett-Packard falling. Dell is still trying to go private. This can't help them. Are they all sort of in the same boat?
Well, they're not necessarily in the same boat because each different company is tied to a different degree to PC sales. So I actually like where Microsoft is relative to Dell and HP, who are much more tied to PC sales. I mean, you look at Microsoft; they have, really good position in software. We know about their gaming. And we know about servers and also their foray into mobile. So they're better positioned relative to those other companies.
We also had the downgrade of Microsoft stock by Goldman Sachs. What do you think of shares right now?
I own shares, and if you strip out the cash, which they have a lot of, we're talking about single-digit P's for Microsoft. It looks cheap.
All right, let's get to some of the day's movers and shakers. Sporting retailer Zumiez on the rise after same-store sales in March were up much higher than analysts were expecting. Matt, the comps were 2.1%. How low are expectations for this company?
Well, believe it or not, you had a lot of analysts out there who had negative comp expectations for Zumiez, but this is just such a fickle market, the teen retail market. If you look at the stock over recent history, it's basically waffled between 20 and 30, and here it is closer to 30. This is not a retail company I'd be interested in.
Fortinet down big after management for the software company said first quarter results are going to be lower than they had previously thought. Hey, the quarter's not over. Why isn't there a last-ditch effort to try to save the results?
Yeah, this is a big deal for them because if you understand how they recognize revenue, they have a big pile of deferred revenue that they recognize. So this is sales that they've already made that's giving them good visibility. So given that they have a huge chunk of that already, that means customers are really pulling back on new orders. So this is a fairly big deal, and it's not out of sync with what we've seen with their competitors, both F5 Networks and Riverbed.
Rite Aid up big on strong fourth quarter results. It's the second straight quarter of turning a profit after 5.5 years of losses. That's a nice little turnaround. Is that something they can keep going, though?
Well, you have to remember this is a $2 stock, so it doesn't take a lot to really have a big gain in the stock on good news. At the same time, revenue was still down year over year. Same-store sales were still down. Until you see a sustainable pickup on the top line, I'd be wary about buying shares here.
And finally, shares of Burger King up on the news that CEO Bernardo Hees is leaving to head up H.J. Heinz. Shares beating the market over the last year or so. How bad was this guy?
Rest assured, we're still going to have sweet potato fries and we're still going to have turkey burgers.
Thank God.
Just because the CEO is leaving, we're still going to keep the good stuff. No, what really I think is happening here is 3G Capital owns about 70% of the shares of Burger King. 3G Capital just went in with Buffett to buy Heinz. They're looking to take a guy who did a great job turning around Burger King and breathe some new life into an old franchise, Heinz.
And the Bacon Sunday, is the Bacon Sunday coming back?
I make no promises about the Bacon Sunday.
All right, that is going to do it for Thursday. Let's look ahead to the rest of the week. Matt, what's a stock you've got on your radar?
Hey, Wells Fargo reports tomorrow. You know, this is kind of a barometer for what's going on in the banks. Plus, we might get some capital allocation news with a buyback or a dividend. I'm paying attention.
Bryan, what about you?
JB Hunt Transport. This is a company that gives us a view into the U.S. economy with its trucking division and global trade with its intermodal business.
All right, for Bryan Hinman and Matt Argersinger, I'm Chris Hill. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.